So, back for the first time in Generation 9. How exciting. We'll just forget about Generation 8. That didn't happen. The 12 series that we had, very forgettable, not very good. Dynamax is terrible, so let's move on to Terastallizing, and this is going to be a lot of fun. Based on what I've seen already, there's a lot of usable Pokemon, and it should be VGC again. The last couple of years were not VGC, because Dynamax just shouldn't have existed, but here we are now with Terastallization, and I am going to be going through these guides here. So this is an ambitious thing for me, but I'm going to attempt to give a early VGC guide for every single brand new Pokemon. So starting at Meowscarada here is how I'm going to assume it is pronounced, and then going right through all of the brand new Pokemon. I'm obviously going to be missing out all the pre-stage evolutions, unless it is a viable EVO-like Pokemon. I'm just going to focus on the full forms, but I am planning to get through all of them. I think I counted 63, so a little bit ambitious, but if I get out a couple a day for a couple of months is the sentence I was going for, then hopefully by the time that the official format started, then most of these guys would be out. So the aim is at least one a day, and then I'm going to aim to get more than one a day, but the minimum is one a day. So starting, of course, with Meowscarada. I did not pick Sprigatito as my starter. I did pick Fuecoco. I was leaning towards Quaxly, but then I decided I think that Fuecoco has the best potential for the last stage evolution, and then I chose correctly because I don't like Quaxly's evolution. But there we go. Meowscarada is where we're at here. So, Flower Trick is pretty cool. It's basically a mini Urshifu to an extent. It doesn't hit through Protect, obviously, but it does always land in a critical hit. Not checking accuracy will sometimes come into play, but almost never. It basically just has 100% accuracy. But the main thing is the critical hit. Slightly weaker than Wicked Blow by 10 base power, and slightly weaker attack stat, and also doesn't hit through Protect, but still pretty strong and nice and fast as well. So I don't think, at least in this early initial stage, I don't think you need to go max speed on the Meowscarada. So I have only gone for, I think it's Pawmot, because that's a fighting type, and that would KO you the close combat. So I'm outspeeding a Pawmot. I don't know if you need to go faster than this, because we'll have to see what is going to be used in the format and what the speeds need to be. But this is my base initial ideas with the Meowscarada. Because the idea with these guides is to try and avoid just 252ing everything. I have some of them, but the idea is to get some guides that aren't just 252s and actually somewhat optimized EV spreads with the Meowscarada. Well, starting with the Meowscarada, but with all the Pokemon. So what I've done here is, so like I said, I outspeed the Pawmot. I survive a Breloom Mach Punch. That is an Adamant Focus Sash 1 as well. 93% of the time Adamant, always jolly survival as well. And then you just dump the rest into attacks. So that is reasonably bulky. It doesn't tend to have too much bulk if you don't bulk it out, and not going to be able to survive much. But with that bulk, it can actually survive a hit without the need of a Focus Sash. And then you get to run your Choice Band so that you can actually do some pretty good damage with the Flower Trick. Knockoff is a very good move. Not many Pokemon get Knockoff because that got wiped from loads of Pokemon's movesets, but Meowscarada does apparently learn it, so we'll take that. And then Sucker Punch as well for the priority. And then you just round off your coverage with Low Kick, but you can very easily justify running Trick instead of the Low Kick. I would have the top three for sure, but have your favorite between Low Kick and Trick. And then if you do have Low Kick, I would probably run Protean. If you don't have Low Kick and you have Trick instead, I would probably lean more towards Overgrow, because it seems like Protean only happens once in a match now. So that is a nerf to Protean. At least from what I've read, it doesn't say it here, but from on Cerebi and all that, it seems like Protean only happens once. So it makes sense with a Choice Bands to be able to Protean yourself into that if you are chaining into a fighting type with Low Kick. But then otherwise, you might as well just keep your Grass and Dark typing, which obviously you can change. And I think the Grass type is going to be the correct Terra type for this, because you don't need to change defensively to be able to side things. You want to be doing massive damage with Choice Band. Flower Trick's going to be your main source of damage, so you want to be boosting that with the Grass type. So that's the initial idea behind this Meowscarada. I think this is probably the first set I would run if I'm running a Meowscarada, but then I've got these 252'd Meowscaradas as well. So this Focus Sash one is actually a little bit of an interesting one, so you can maybe notice that I don't have all my EVs used, because I don't want to, and also that I have 0 in each of the defensive stats and the HP as well, and I don't have Endeavour. So the reason for that is because I don't want Protean, I want Overgrow with this set. It doesn't have good enough bulk that it's going to survive 2 hits anyway. It'll survive the hit it needs to with the Focus Sash, and then be able to do whatever it wants, but if it had the max IVs in both of its HP and defenses, it might take 60% from something and then get 2it KO'd by that. Whereas with the minimum defenses that you can possibly have, you're almost guaranteeing you go down below that 33% range so that you can get a overgrow boosted Flower Trick, so that you can actually get a Life Orb on top of your Flower Trick while still having the Focus Sash. So that's the idea behind this. I think you should always have Flower Trick and Knockoff / Sucker Punch. I'm going to just rewrite it in here just for the reference, even though it's not going to fit. But one of those two, you could have all three and then just something else, but these are the two main supportive moves that jumped out for me, for Meowscarada. If you're going with the Focus Sash, then you can get away with the support of Fake Tears and have some special attacker that's nice and fast and hitting hard next to you. No idea what it's going to be at this point. I haven't looked too hard into partners at this point. I'm just looking at individual Pokemon. Because like I said, this isn't a very, very early meta guide, as in I beat the game a couple of hours ago. But Ally Switch as well is one of the few Pokemon that gets it now. Because it's no longer a TM/TR, only a few Pokemon get it. Huzzah! It's also been nerfed. It has Protect mechanics now. It might fail. It's got you now. It's going to be horrible when you lose to a double Ally Switch. But at least it got some sort of nerf. All they had to do was get rid of the priority from Ally Switch, and they sorted the move completely. But we'll take some sort of nerf, and the fact that it is not very distributed much. But Meowscarada gets it, so that is very reasonable to be able to run it as well. Another option I would consider would be Taunt as well on this Meowscarada. Of course, you can run Protect on your Focus Sash one. But basically just pick your favourites. Really, it should just be Flower Trick, Dark Move, maybe both Dark Moves. Oh, it gets rid of the slash there, but oh well. And then Fake Tears, Ally Switch, and Taunt are very good support moves as well. If you did want to go a little bit more basic and just going hit hard with the Life Orb, and you don't want to lock yourself in with a Choice Band, then you can just go Life Orb. These three attacks are all you need. You don't really need Low Kick. I wouldn't put Low Kick over any of those attacks on the Life Orb version. And I also would still stick with Overgrow rather than Protean, because you've already got your stab boosts on top of the Flower Trick, Knockoff, and Sucker Punch. And if you get down into that 33% range, then you've got a double Life Orb boost. So I would prefer that to changing into one of the single types. Maybe that will change, but who knows. And Adamant, I think, is better on the Meowscarada, at least in this initial stage. I don't think you need to go Jolly at all with this Meowscarada, because you're already outspeeding most things, and there's only a few things that you'll be underspeeding. We'll see how the meta develops, whether you need to go Jolly or not, but I think you can definitely start out by sticking with Adamant just for the extra power, and then if you face, like a Gengar or something, if Gengar becomes popular, then maybe you need to outspeed that, but you can always Sucker Punch a Gengar that's going for Sludge Bomb and all that stuff, so I think Adamant is fine for now, but we will see how the meta develops going forwards and seeing if we are going to need Jolly or not. But this is what I would start with, and I think this could be pretty reasonable. I have given it a B ranking, but I think this is a very high B and getting close to A- on my initial impressions. But we will have to see how that develops. I reckon it will be at least an A or B. I don't expect it will be lower than that, because it's actually seeming to be pretty decent, especially with the critical hit Flower Trick, but that is my first impressions of this Meowscarada. So that's going to be it for Meowscarada. We're going to be moving on to Skeledirge.